The Treaty of Troyes, signed on May 21, 1420, was a crucial diplomatic agreement during the Hundred Years' War between England and France. This treaty marked a significant turning point in the conflict, as it recognized King Henry V of England as the rightful heir to the French throne, bypassing the legitimate heir, Charles VII, and cementing English control over much of France. Background: the French crisis. By the early 15th century, France was in a state of turmoil. Charles VI, the French king, had suffered from mental illness, which led to periods of incapacity and political instability. His inability to rule effectively resulted in a civil war between two factions, the Armagnacs, who supported Charles VII, and the Burgundians, who allied with England. The Burgundians were led by Philip the Good, Duke of Burgundy, who saw the alliance with England as beneficial for both political and territorial reasons. The English, under the leadership of Henry V, had achieved significant military victories, notably the Battle of Agincourt 1415, which devastated the French army. The Burgundian faction, seeing the opportunity to strengthen their position, began to support Henry V's claim to the French throne. Terms of the treaty. The Treaty of Troyes was a product of English and Burgundian negotiations and was signed by Henry V, Charles VI, and Philip the Good of Burgundy. The key provisions of the treaty included: 1. Henry V as heir to the French throne. The treaty officially declared Henry V the heir to the French throne. This was a monumental shift, as it disinherited Charles VII, the son of Charles VI, and excluded him from the line of succession to the French crown. 2. Marriage to Catherine of Valois. To further solidify his claim, Henry V married Catherine of Valois, the daughter of Charles VI. This marriage linked Henry directly to the French royal family, giving him both a dynastic claim and political legitimacy. 3. English control of French territories. The treaty recognized English control over large portions of northern France, including Normandy and Paris, which had been secured through Henry's military victories. The English also gained the right to govern much of France under the treaty's terms. 4. Joint rule. Charles VI, though still officially recognized as king, agreed to a joint rule with Henry V during his lifetime. The French crown was effectively ceded to Henry after Charles VI's death, ensuring the transfer of power to the English monarch. Consequences of the treaty. 1. English dominance in France. The Treaty of Troyes marked the height of English power in France. With the recognition of Henry V as heir to the throne and the Burgundian alliance, England controlled significant French territory, including Paris, Normandy, and much of northern France. 2. The disinheritance of Charles VII. The treaty was a major blow to Charles VII, who was excluded from the French throne. His inability to resist English dominance led to a period of French fragmentation and instability, as Charles VII struggled to gain recognition and support from the French nobility. 3. The role of Joan of Arc. The treaty's impact was not lasting, as the French resistance would soon regroup. Joan of Arc, a peasant girl who claimed divine inspiration, emerged in the early 1420s to rally the French forces and lead them to a series of victories, culminating in the coronation of Charles VII as King of France in 1429. Joan's efforts helped reverse the effects of the Treaty of Troyes and led to the eventual French recovery. 4. Death of Henry V. The sudden death of Henry V in 1422 left his infant son, Henry VI, as king of both England and France. This created a power vacuum and ultimately led to the War of the Roses in England, further weakening English control in France. Conclusion. The Treaty of Troyes, 1420, was a defining moment in the Hundred Years' War as it shifted the balance of power in favor of England. By recognizing Henry V as heir to the French throne and securing English control over large parts of France, the treaty appeared to offer a final resolution to the war. However, the treaty's long-term effects were undermined by French resistance, the death of Henry V, and the rise of Joan of Arc. The Treaty of Troyes ultimately failed to bring lasting peace, and the conflict would continue for several more decades before a final resolution was reached.